Audience member number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The Unnecessary Oil by Tricia Bailey. How and when did the world become so dependent on palm oil? Many of you probably don't know what the seemingly harmless substance is, and if you do, you wouldn't think it has the potential to destroy entire habitats. Palm oil is an ingredient in almost every single product we use in our everyday lives, and just like with any other product or crop that we consume, comes an enormous amount of land needed to produce it, making it one of the leading drivers of deforestation. I'm sure most of you are aware of the recent wildfires in Australia and the devastating effects that it had on its forest and the koalas that inhabit them. The production of palm oil has similar impacts that go much less unnoticed. There are already so many other activities contributing to deforestation, but because palm oil is still needed in today's market, my goal is to educate you as the consumer on why palm oil is a growing concern, explain the simple choices we can make to alleviate the effects of palm oil production, and help you visualize how the world will look if deforestation continues to be a problem. Let's first take a closer look at the impacts palm oil production has on us and our environment. So why is it a problem? Animals are losing their homes, we're losing our home, our planet. According to Sophie Hirsch, a contributing author for the website Green Matters, palm oil is primarily harvested from palm trees that grow in rainforests. And as explained by Rainforest Rescue, developers often bulldoze or set fire to land and rainforests to make room for more palm oil plantations. One thing to note regarding the deforestation of tropical regions is that they do not sustain agricultural crops for more than just a few years before nutrients are depleted, as most nutrients in these ecosystems are stored in the plants. So if you think about it, destroying large portions of rainforest, the ecosystem needed to prepare the palm oil, is more harmful than clearing any other type of ecosystem for agricultural use, because you will have to continuously clear more surface area to find those nutrients needed to grow the trees used for palm oil. Rainforests hold the highest number of species than any other region in the world. Of those species is the Burian orangutan, which is now classified as critically endangered. The website for Greenpeace organization states that Burian orangutans are a keystone species in these ecosystems, maintaining a careful balance by distributing seeds from fruit that they consume as part of their varied diet. Once they go, the entire ecosystem is unbalanced and at risk for further devastation. Animals are not the only ones affected. The indigenous people of the rainforest are losing their villages due to loss of ownership. Companies are buying out the rights to the lands to expand their plantation development. According to Angus Andrianto, author of the article Expansion of Oil Palm Plantations in Indonesia's Frontier, landowners rely on nearby natural resources for their income, collecting food and other products. They cannot extract products from other plants' land, which explains why they only take products from nature and only what is needed and based on their abilities to harvest. There are no other substitutes for income, leaving families with little to no money or resources for survival. Landowners are under the impression that their land will be returned to them after companies have met their palm oil production needs. The aforementioned article states, normally a company will maintain control over the transferred land for 60 years. Such a long period across generations causes difficulty in maintaining and tracing the documentation relating to the transfers, like boundaries, size, etc. And usually a witness of the transfer event would no longer be alive when the company ends its management period. These land transfers are completely unethical, and more organizations to step in to regulate these transactions. Moving forward, there are two simple things we can do on our part to alleviate the impacts left behind from these palm oil plantations. So what is the solution? We rely on palm oil. We cannot ban it entirely, but we can support companies that harvest it sustainably. So what can we do? The Roundtable of Sustainable Palm Oil, or RSPO, was formed in 2004 in response to the growing crisis of deforestation. The website for the World Wildlife Fund states that in November 2018, the RSPO standard was strengthened, and it now represents an essential tool that can help companies achieve their commitments to palm oil that is free of deforestation, expansion on peat, exploitation, and the use of fire. As consumers, we can easily buy products certified by RSPO to ensure we are supporting the conservation of wildlife and the protection to indigenous peoples and their families. Do some research. Many retailers are participating in the commitment to buy and sell palm oil that is not derived from destructive methods. Consumers can invest in companies that use alternatives to palm oil, such as sunflower oil and the highly popular coconut oil. We've discussed the impact of palm oil and what we can do to reduce those impacts. Now let's put it into perspective. And like you can see here, here we are now in 2020. It's pretty bleak. It's not looking good. We are increasing our demand. The website for the International Union for the Conservation of Nature states that between 1980 and 2014, global palm oil production increased by a factor of 15, from 4.5 million tons to 70 million tons. This demand will continue to grow due to low production costs and high yields. So while some will argue that it may be good for the market, we are depleting the ecosystem so much that money cannot replenish it. Eventually, what was once a thriving, abundant ecosystem will become a barren wasteland and will serve no other purpose than to become the foundation for another concrete jungle. Loss of biodiversity does not seem significant, but subtle changes have major implications. These implications are not limited to the animals that inhabit the affected ecosystems. Humanity will suffer as well. The website for the World Health Organization explains that biodiversity plays a crucial role in human nutrition through its influence on world food production, as it ensures the sustainable productivity of soils and provides the genetic resources for all crops, livestock, and marine species harvested for food. Access to a sufficiency of nutritious variety of food is a fundamental determinant of health. Technically speaking, we will lose a lot of food and possible medicines that we use every day. So to summarize, the production of palm oil is degrading to people and animals. What do you want the audience to do? Sorry. I hope that eventually we can all become educated consumers and show compassion for our environment before we drive ourselves to an inhabitable planet. I'll leave you with a quote by the famous Albert Einstein. Why is it called vandalism when we destroy something created by man? But when we destroy something created by nature, we call it progress. Thank you.
Audience member 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.